The Inquisitive Mamba, episode 48. Max, how's it going? It's good to see you in person. I know we've been recording our last 2 episodes on Zoom, so it's great to see you in person.
It's much better in person. I think we flow a lot better.
I think so too.
I'm not a fan of the Zoom audio, the Zoom video. This will be much better for the people at home.
I think so too. So we're in sunny Southwest Florida. So anyways, NFL week 14 we just wrapped up.
Yep.
Your Bengals won.
We did.
They beat the Browns 23-10.
Yep, not as convincing as I would have hoped. I really wish we could have done what they did to us on Halloween, but we got the win. The win's a win, and we're still pushing for the top of the AFC, AFC North, I should say. So we're looking good.
Dogfight to the end of the AFC North with the Ravens.
Yeah,
and you guys can definitely take advantage with Lamar Jackson being out. And now
I was hoping we would. In the last episode, we said I wish the Steelers would kill them, but it didn't. It didn't work out in my favor. But it's okay. On to next week.
So we're going to come back to the Browns and the Bengals here in a few minutes. But Baker Mayfield and the Rams. Baker Mayfield, Sean McVay, high stepping on the sideline, Hollywood party. We're here. How about that 98-yard game-winning drive for Baker Mayfield?
I mean, it was unbelievable, right?
I mean, we were texting in the beginning of the game, and the Rams looked lifeless, obviously, before Baker got in the game. Is Baker a great quarterback? No. But he provided that energy spark that the Rams desperately needed. And the Raiders let them hang around in the game. I mean, it was 16-3 for most of the game. Devontae Adams still got his. I mean, he torched Ramsey a couple times. The Raiders, the run game was great with Josh Jacobs. But what really got me was the Rams hung around, and they didn't go away. Now, it was a good confidence booster for them, and obviously Baker's going to be the starter for the rest of the season. But
I mean, I'd love to see.
Not fixable. And then they shipped him off to the Panthers, and then the Panthers have what? They have nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible, horrible team. Their best receiver was Robbie Anderson, and he didn't want to be there, and he left. And then again, he hasn't done anything, has he?
No.
So he's had a bad string of last couple of years. I'd like to see what he can do on a better team.
I think so too.
I think if he can show what he just showed for the rest of the season, maybe a few more games where he does well, he might stick around. It looked like at the end of this year he might not even be in the league anymore. So after that, if he can lead the Rams to a few more wins, he might get another chance.
Did you know that he booked a flight to LA and just hoping on a prayer on a limb that he was going to get signed by somebody, and then the Rams actually ended up signing him?
I did not know that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's a great way to start his time in LA with the Rams, obviously, but I mean, it's something to build on for them. I mean, they don't have a lot of weapons as Cooper Kupp's hurt. They don't really have a running back with Akers. Akers has a fumbling problem. We all know that.
Yep.
So, I mean, and then Aaron Donald obviously was out. So, I mean, but hey, hats off to him on a great game, and we'll see how he does this week. Moving on to the Jets and the Bills. We talked about the Jets and the Bills, actually. You said the Jets were going to cover +10, and they did. They ended up losing 20-12. They might have actually won that game if Mike White was able to stay healthy and didn't get speared 3 or 4 times. I mean, he was a warrior, man. He
got rocked a few times.
He came back, and obviously the Bills won 20-12, but was their offense really impressive? I wouldn't say it was impressive, but they got the job done, and it was nice to see that they weren't so Josh Allen, reliant. I know I've talked about that in a few episodes ago, and it's actually a topic that they bring up now. I mean,
That's what we talked about last episode.
Yeah, the Bills rely on him so much, but it was nice that they were able to just kind of, mix it up and, let the defense just kind of, do their part as well. Obviously, no Von Miller, I understand, but Gregory Rousseau and Ed Oliver stepped up big time in the absence of Von Miller. Cold weather game in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. What more exciting than that? Does it get better than that?
No, it was a great game.
But the end of that game, when the Jets lost, Robert Saleh, the Jets head coach, at the podium said, "We'll be seeing them again." The Jets are at 7-6. Do you think the Jets will make the playoffs, or do you think they'll be able to get in? Or do you think Buffalo and the Jets would be a potential rematch in the playoffs, or the Jets and the Bills are done? They split the season series.
I mean, I don't know. I don't like the AFC is so top heavy right now. Jets with that loss puts them at a serious disadvantage to make the playoffs with the wild card. I mean, obviously the Bills are they the top of the league right now?
The Bills are the number 1 seed. Yes, yeah. They're 10-3.
So then it's the Jets versus the Dolphins trying to get into the wild card. Also the Bengals.
Jets, Patriots, Chargers.
Right, and the Pats won last night.
Yeah,
so,
7-6.
So yeah, they have some problems. So if Mike White is healthy, I mean, who knows? He's not a rookie, but he's a young quarterback. He's played maybe 5 games in his career.
Right.
Like, hardly any games in his career. So it's hard to tell if he's going to be able to lead a team. He's looked well when he's in.
Yeah.
Can you keep that up throughout the rest of the season and late important games? Who knows? And then when you get to the playoffs, can you? I don't know. I think the Dolphins are going to take that wild card from them.
The Dolphins aren't the wild card right now, though. They're the 6th seed.
Yeah, I think
you think the Dolphins will be the wild card?
Take the wild card
from
them.
Right, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's Patriots, Jets, and Chargers right now. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but I do want to talk about a player from the Jets, Quinnen Williams. We talked about him on last week's episode. He was sensational before he got hurt. I think he finished with 2 sacks, and he went out with a calf injury, but he was great. He dominated the trenches. He's borderline all-pro D-tackle this year. He's been wonderful. So, I mean, the Jets have a really good defense. I mean, the Jets are better than 7-6, but they've been in a lot of close games. I think just like the Patriots. It's in that same realm. The Jets have a great defense though, and they've got a lot of young, good pieces. Garrett Wilson's a stud. He's an absolute stud.
Yeah,
I mean they
on
lost
my fantasy team. Thank you.
They lost Breece Hall. Uzomah hasn't really done a whole lot, but they do have pieces, and the Jets are definitely trending in the right direction. 7-6.
Absolutely.
It looks bad on paper, but I think they can compete with a lot of teams, a lot of the good teams in the league, a lot of the contenders.
Definitely.
So, how about the Dawson Knox touchdown where he got flipped into the end zone? That was a crazy play.
That was sick.
That was insane.
It reminds me of not as spectacular, but a young Jerome Simpson on the Bengals.
Oh,
Cincinnati
yes.
Bengals.
I remember that.
Obviously, Knox wasn't doing it on purpose, but it was a spectacle to watch, especially with the pylon cam showing him right there flipping.
Yep.
It was crazy.
So another team that we want to talk about, obviously, is America's team, the Cowboys. They were in a dogfight against the Texans, which most people didn't expect.
And freaking Lovie Smith is an absolute idiot. Like, how do you get to goal line?
They went for 4th and goal.
Lovie Smith, first of all, I don't know how he has a job anymore. But they went for it on 4th and goal. Kick a field goal, force them to get the touchdown. I think they got the touchdown or did they get the field goal to send it?
It was 23-20. The Texans were up.
They went for it on 4th goal. They missed it.
They didn't get it. Dak led the Cowboys to a game-winning drive, and they won 27-23.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't see why Lovie Smith doesn't go for the field goal there, but they ended up getting the touchdown anyway. Maybe a different mentality if they had to get a touchdown, because all they needed was they knew they could rely on the field goal.
Dameon Pierce got hurt earlier in the game, so I think the situation there is you're way more comfortable if he's in the game. You can go for it on 4th and goal there. He's been a sensational rookie back this year. He leads the league in rushing yards for rookies for the entire year. He's been a stud from Florida, but I just don't understand the play call with Jeff Driscoll on a QB draw basically on 4th and goal. And the Cowboys have a pretty good D-line. It's not great, but I mean they can, but the storyline of that game,
it was a fumble on that goal line, obviously. Not a fumble, it was a bad play calling on that goal line drive.
The storyline of that game was the game-winning drive by the Cowboys. Pollard was sensational again, of course, but I mean, the Cowboys, people are obviously a little worried about them from this week, but a win's a win in the National Football League. A win is a win, and it doesn't matter.
That's right.
Nobody cares if you win by 10, 15, 1. A win's a win. They play the Jaguars this week, and Jags played pretty good against the Titans. I mean, actually, they dominated that game from start to finish. Most people didn't even expect that to happen. Trevor Lawrence is starting to come into his own.
I know. I like him. He's looking good.
I actually watched our episode back from summertime when we were at your old house, your house, the Iona house, and I was talking about Trevor Lawrence and how it was going to be a big culture change for the Jaguars to get Doug Peterson and how they were looking. And I think I said I think the Jaguars will win 7 or 8 games. They've won 5 now. So are they a scary team? No, but Trevor Lawrence is turning that team around, and it's good that he finally has the right coaching, because obviously had Dabo Swinney in college, he was great, of course. Then you're with Urban Meyer. I mean, and now you're with Doug Peterson, who's a proven winner. He won a Super Bowl. He coached Nick Foles, coached Wentz. He helped Wentz with that MVP year before he tore his ACL. So, I mean, it's all going good for the Jags. I expect the Cowboys and the Jags to be a good game. I'm sure the Cowboys will win, but I think the Jags will put up a good fight. I like the way the Jags are going.
I hope so. I mean, they're looking good. They almost when they beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, that's my guy.
A 2-point
right
conversion.
After that, anyone who beats the AFC North is a friend of mine.
But the flashy play and the storyline of that game was the touchdown to Zay Jones through 2 defenders. And he tiptoed his way in the end zone.
That was insane.
That was remarkable.
That replay too. I don't know if I've ever seen a replay closer than that.
How they showed it.
There was like a blade of grass between the toe and the line.
But the Jaguars obviously don't get the recognition that they deserve, and I understand because they haven't been a good team. They're not a big market team, but imagine if Trevor Lawrence was on, a huge market team, how much recognition he would get. You put him on like the Chiefs, or
oh my God,
I mean, a team like that, or
or look at if he was on the Jets, look at Zach.
Yeah, look at Zach Wilson. How much attention he gets. I mean,
he gets so much attention. He sucks balls. If Trevor Lawrence was there, it would be a whole different story.
Imagine if you put Trevor Lawrence on the Dolphins instead of Tua.
Oh my
gosh!
It would be that year.
I mean, imagine that.
It'd be insane.
Imagine if teams were allowed to do an in-state trade swap.
Oh my God!
Imagine that. Trevor Lawrence on the Dolphins with with Waddle and Hill.
It would be ridiculous. Yeah, right now who's he got? Zay
Jones, and Christian Kirk.
I mean, they're fine, but they're not. They're
Tua
no wide receiver.
They're not Waddle.
They're no Jamar Chase.
They're not Waddle and Hill.
Yeah.
So, Vikings-Lions, that was the next one here. The Lions were favored by 2 points in that game, and they ended up winning by 11 points. But a couple things from that game, Kirk Cousins, went off. I mean, but they were playing behind, so they were playing catch-up. They were passing the ball, obviously, because they were down most of the game. Justin Jefferson had a record day. But there was one thing from that game that got me is that there was a Justin Jefferson touchdown that was called back. It was that he caught the ball like this basically, and he ran down. He was running down the sideline basically, and it got called back. I saw it on Twitter that it wasn't a touchdown. I want to watch it back to see again why it wasn't a touchdown, but it really interested me. Jefferson
I did not see that.
He had 223 yards in the day, another record day for him. I mean, he just keeps climbing up the mountain.
I don't know how he does it with someone like Kirk Cousins. I mean, he keeps getting all those records. I know Kirk Cousins isn't horrible, but he's pretty impressive. There
was another thing from that Lions game. Actually, it sealed the deal for the Lions. Actually, they called a play to Penei Sewell, the tackle their premier tackle they drafted in last year's draft. The previous years, because Hutchinson was this draft, and then before that, so it would have been what 2020, right? 2021
it was the 2021 draft.
Yes, Penei Sewell, they drafted him, and he caught the pass out of the flat. Basically, it was just kind of one of those like crazy plays. And Dan Campbell was actually on Pat McAfee's show earlier today, and he had no clue that they were calling that play call from the offensive coordinator, and he was like, "Holy shit, they're calling that! Or, holy crap, they're calling that play call!" And he was just like blown away.
Did they catch it or no?
Yeah, they caught it. That was basically they sealed it to win almost.
The Lions.
Lions caught it. Yeah, Penei Sewell caught the touchdown, caught the pass for them to seal the deal. But it was just funny because he didn't know about it. But I don't know. I'm starting to.
I'm a believer in Dan Campbell. Everyone's always loved Dan Campbell. So
I know, and
I love his energy.
I mean, they were 1-6, and now they're 5-7.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool to see how they've changed everything around. They got a lot of good young pieces. A lot of good young. They got
5-7.
Yeah, 5-7. Yeah, they're 5-7. They got DJ Chark. Jamison Williams just came back from the ACL injury.
Actually, Sun God.
Actually, remarkable to say the least, because he tore his ACL in the game against Georgia in the national championship last year, a game that we watched. So to be back, 9.5 months, 10 months after an ACL like that?
That's impressive.
Odell's still not even back yet from his ACL. But I like the way the Lions are going. Their defense is still not where it needs to be. And obviously, I'm sure in this upcoming draft pick they have from the Rams, they're going to draft defense. I don't really think they need anything else on offense.
They're looking good. They need a quarterback, that's for sure.
No, dude, the way Jared Goff has been playing this year,
he's good.
I don't see why you would go away from him at this point right now. I mean, you draft QB?
Yeah, I guess you're right. He's been all right.
He's been pretty good, to say the least.
Yeah.
And you got the Lions are 6-7, right? Because they won.
Yeah, I was going to say 5-7. That didn't make sense mathematically.
Right.
I was trying to do the math.
Yes, they won because they won 2 games in a row.
Right.
Because they won this week.
So they went from 1-6 to 6-7.
Yes, because they blew out the Jags last week.
Yeah.
So now they're 6-7. They play the Jets this week. Oh, they could get to 7-7, and they can still make the playoffs. Imagine if they got in the playoffs. Wouldn't that be crazy? The Lions, the last time made the playoffs was Stafford.
2010.
Was Stafford?
Yeah, Stafford Megatron. I'm sure it's like 2010, I think.
So I think we all know who the NFL MVP is at this point in this season. I think it's fair to say it's Jalen Hurts.
Come on.
It's not Joe Burrow.
It's Joe Burrow.
It is not.
It's Joe Burrow.
It's not. Why is it Joe Burrow?
He's a better player.
Okay, just because he's a better player doesn't mean he's having a better season.
The Eagles are going to lose out. The Bengals are going to win out. We're going to get the first round.
The Eagles are 12-1.
Yeah, they're going to lose out. We're going to win out. We'll be just fine.
Joe
Burrow's going to throw 25 touchdowns in the last 5 games, and we're going to call it a day.
Mahomes is second in MVP. Hurts is 1. Mahomes is 3. Anyways, Jalen Hurts deserves the MVP. The numbers he has put up this season, back-to-back seasons with 10-plus rushing touchdowns.
I personally am not impressed.
You're not impressed by Jalen Hurts?
Not at all.
Really?
No.
Wow. I'm going to pull up Jalen Hurts' stats for you, and you're going to tell me if you're impressed. They dominated the Giants this past weekend. Now, you can say it's the Giants. It doesn't matter. You win 48-22, divisional game on the road. They single-handedly handled the Giants. And you know what got me, too, about Jalen Hurts is Quez Watkins, his receiver, and A.J. Brown were sitting there on the sideline like faking like they were throwing money, and Hurts was in the coat because it's freezing cold in New York, and he's sitting there like this, meaning he's not satisfied. And I like that. I really like that because
Job's not finished.
Nope, there's been a lot of doubters and a lot of haters with Jalen Hurts, and he's getting the job done right now. The way he's been playing this season, I mean, I don't know how you couldn't give him the MVP, but I'm going to pull up his stats from this season for you. Jalen Hurts' stats: 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. QBR 4th with 70.4. He's 10th in passing yards, 67.7% completion percentage last game, and his rushing stats from this season, he has 10 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. How can you not give him the MVP? And the Eagles are hitting on all cylinders.
My MVP is Joe Burrow, that's why.
The Eagles are 12-1, and who do you think is going to beat the Eagles in the NFC? Let's go team by team in the NFC, right? In the playoff picture. You got the Eagles, you got the Bucks, you got the Niners, you got the Vikings, the Cowboys, and you got the Giants.
I like the Niners in that.
Really? You trust the Niners on the road.
Have you seen Brock Purdy?
Have you seen the Eagles the way that they've been playing?
No, I haven't watched it.
They're loaded.
I've watched Brock Purdy though, and I know he's good.
Okay, Brock Purdy. You trust the Niners on the road, going into Philly?
Yeah, I trust Brock Purdy. He knows what he's doing.
He's a good QB, but he's not Jalen Hurts.
You've seen Brock Purdy day in and day out. Everyone knows what he is.
He's a good QB. All right, Ravens Steelers, the division you're familiar with, 16-14. Pickett left the game with a concussion, and so did Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens would have actually, you know what? I think the Steelers would have won that game if Pickett didn't go out.
I think so too. Who'd went in? Mitch Trubisky?
Mitch Trubisky, yeah.
So 3 interceptions, didn't he?
I'm not sure, but anyways, the Ravens won again. They're fighting with you guys at 9-4 for that division.
I can't believe that. I mean, the way these games shake down, the fact that we're still.
You play them one more time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the Ravens.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
The fact that we're still tied for the division, and we because of that fucking because of that freaking game-winning field goal, we're head to head. We're second in the division.
You play them last game of the season.
Like we started the year like what 0-3 in our division. No, in our division.
Oh, in the division, right?
Because we went Browns, we lost. Right. We lost to the Steelers, and we lost to the Ravens. Yeah, we started 0-3 in our division. Yep. Since we're 2-0, obviously, but we still have to beat the Ravens one more time.
Right.
So, the fact that they're holding on with Tyler Huntley is a scary proposition.
Okay, so moving on from the Ravens and the Steelers game, we are going to go to the Chiefs and the Broncos game. It was 27-0, and everyone thought it was over. There was a camera flash to Travis Kelce, and he was smiling on the sideline. Little did he know, the guy from Seattle that got traded there, Russell Wilson, that you don't particularly like, had a great game before he got hit with that concussion. They were down 27-0. They came back, courtesy of him and Brett Ripien. But I mean, it was good to see the Broncos be competitive against the Chiefs, and Mahomes didn't have the greatest day. He had 3 touchdowns. He had 3 interceptions. Actually, Josie Jewell had 2 of those interceptions. But obviously, everybody was talking about it. The flashy play, Mahomes flipped it to Jerick McKinnon down the sideline. It was beautiful. Nice. Don't get me wrong. But don't take away from the Broncos how they played in that game. They were competitive, and it was nice to see. I don't know if Russell Wilson's going to play this week, but it was still good to see that they didn't get blown out.
Russell Wilson needs any more brain damage, dude. He's dumb enough.
I don't. But anyways. I thought it was a good game. I mean, they ended up coming back.
Sounds like a great game.
It was close, throughout. But the storyline of that game was Jerry Jeudy pushing the ref. You didn't see that?
No.
Jerry Jeudy after the play shoved, like kind of bumped into the ref, and his teammate pushed him. His teammate pushed him back. Jerry Judy's own teammate pushed him back, basically, like doing like, "What are you doing?" So there's a lot of problems in Denver. I'm sure that they've addressed this, but I mean, you're pushing a ref. I personally think if you push a ref, you should be suspended.
Do you think Russ needs to be released this offseason?
No.
I think he does.
No, I told you, get Russ a different coach. Hackett's already in the hot seat. You get rid of Hackett. You figure out what you've got left. I mean, you don't have a lot of cap space. I think Russell Wilson is still a good quarterback. I really do. I think you give him another offseason with the guys he has. A healthy offensive line comes back this year. Your defense is already good, and you get another good draft pick. And, oh no, actually, are they going to give that draft pick to the Seahawks? Are they going to get?
I have no idea.
Anyway,
what I do think is that all the praying that Russell Wilson does, he's not praying enough to make them win football games, and I think it's on him.
I personally think, obviously, quarterback is to blame for a lot of the situation, but he doesn't have. I mean,
he needs to spend more time on the Bible.
He doesn't have a lot to work with. I'm sticking with that. That's how I'm feeling about it.
Well, he needs to pray for some more weapons then.
My dad and I were on the phone the other day. Put Russell Wilson and the Dolphins. How do they look?
I don't like Russell Wilson, so I'm going to say terrible.
Put Russell Wilson and the Dolphins with Waddle and Hill.
Yeah. All right.
With Mike McDaniel as their play caller.
Yeah, he'd probably be all right. He'd probably be better.
They would probably be insane.
Yeah.
The way that the Broncos were supposed to be. Okay, so Bucs Niners, we watched that game. That was really bad. It was 28-0 at halftime. It looked horrible. But
yeah.
It got a little more exciting after the game when the Niners players were walking up to Brady and they were getting autographs. And Dre Greenlaw, a player that I talked about on the couple episodes ago when he had the controversial hit on Herbert, the helmet-to-helmet, and he was ejected, he intercepted Tom Brady, and he asked him if he could sign his ball. Yeah. It was nice to see Brady kind of be like old man Brady, like dad Brady, like having fun with them after the game because, Brady's usually all business. In New England, I don't think he would have ever done that. I think Belichick probably would have dragged him by his ear and not allowed that. But I understand that, they got their ass kicked, and that's exactly what Brady said after the game. But it was still cool to see that these younger guys that have looked up to Brady his whole life, play against him at the end of the game, and he's kind of sharing, like that conversation back and forth. So I thought it was pretty cool. What did you think?
It was good to see. I hate it when players act like they're moping around when they lose a game. Like he knew he was losing the game by the halftime almost. Right. So like to say that he didn't expect to lose, like he shouldn't have been disappointed. It's not like it was the last second drive. It was game over from the halftime. Yeah. So it is good to see Tom Brady have a little fun. Sure. I hope he's not as happy this coming Sunday
as the Bengals
in
the
Tampa Bay with the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think he'll be so happy.
Okay, so Deebo Samuel, the injury that he suffered, it looked really, really bad, right? It looked like he tore his ACL or his MCL. It looked really bad initially. But reports came out that it's now only a high ankle sprain. But former Niners receiver, legendary wide receiver Jerry Rice, blasted the Niners on social media on his Instagram for the play calling of letting your star players, this is your third time letting your star players run up the middle. Deebo Samuel, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Trey Lance. All very similar play calls. Do you think he has a point for saying, hey, why are you running Deebo Samuel up the middle? I know you use him as a tailback sometimes, but in a situation like that when you're up big, why are you running Deebo Samuel up the middle?
Dude, I don't. When you're up big, I get that. It's hard not to use the weapons that you have, though. If you have the weapons, how do you say, oh, we need to stop using them? No coach is looking for injuries. No coach is expecting injuries when a play is called. Yeah. So I get where he's coming from, but to tell the coach don't use your weapons, you gotta use what you got. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the name of the game. Yeah. Maybe it could have been someone else. And when you say Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, that makes sense. Maybe don't send them up the middle to get cleaned. But Deebo is basically running back at this point for them. Like he runs the ball.
They mix and match with him. So
yeah. So to not run him, I don't know how you can stop a coach from running Deebo Samuel. They just paid him. They better put him to work, right?
I agree. They dodged the major bullet, though. It's only a high ankle sprain. So they say he could potentially be back in 3 weeks. Now, if I'm a coach or I'm the GM, I'm not letting Deebo come back until the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, no.
I think you rest him at this point.
Well, like you saw what we did with Jamar Chase. He was supposed to be out for 4. He was out for
3?
almost No, he was out.
Oh, 5, right?
Yeah, he was out 5.
Right, because
he
the
took the Titans game off.
The bye week.
He took the bye week off, and we all thought he was gonna be back for the Titans game. They said no, 1 more week. You're gonna have to sit. And he reportedly, I don't know if this is true, wasn't happy. This is just what I read. Like he was ready to play and he wanted to play. But
I'm sure.
said,
yeah,
we need you. So
but you're an important piece.
And we still won that
team.
game. And
yeah.
he's been a key player since he's come back. So I think you're right. He probably sits for the rest of the year.
Since you brought the Bengals back up, Damian Woody, he works for ESPN. He played for the Patriots, longtime defensive tackle in the NFL, played for the Patriots and the Jets. He said the Bengals are the best team in the AFC. Now, I know you're a Bengals fan, but like, how do you feel about that when people say the Bengals are the best team in the AFC? I personally don't think so, but I want to hear your opinion.
I don't know. I am very much a defeated Bengals fan. I've seen us throw away so many games that we could have won. I mean, I've been a Bengals fan my whole life, so
right.
I'm never very confident with the Bengals going into any game.
Right.
I don't ever expect us to win. You're raised a Patriots fan. You expect them to win every game when you're growing up.
I expect them to win every game even now. That's
exactly.
just the mentality you have.
So I know when any given Sunday we can go do what we did with the Browns on Halloween, and just literally just fall apart. The wagons fall off. All the wheels fall off the wagon on all 4 wheels.
Who knows this Sunday in Tampa?
Exactly. So to say that the Bengals are the best team in the AFC, maybe so far what their resume has shown, you could argue for it. But I can't. Yeah, we beat the Chiefs. I cannot. I'm not that confident in the Bengals ever, just because of our history.
I personally would take that to the bank if they beat the Bills. If they can beat the Chiefs and the Bills, I personally will think they're the best team in the AFC. But that hasn't happened yet. They have to play the Bills.
If we can go on a Chiefs, Titans, Bucks, Bills win streak,
yeah, you're in good business.
We're the best team in the division. No question.
9-4. You could still win the AFC.
Yeah,
I mean that's the thing. Like it's not out of the question.
We could win out.
Yes, you beat the Bucks.
Why did I just say that? Knock on wood. But
New England and Buffalo and Baltimore. I mean those are tough games, but
yeah.
I mean, it's
playing the last 3 games we had, Titans, Chiefs.
The way you're playing, it's very possible.
Yeah.
So, how about Cowboys signing T.Y. Hilton? All the speculation was they were going to sign Odell, OBJ, and then the knee injury, came out of it. It was way more serious than it was. And I think we talked about T.Y. for a while, even off camera, that is somebody going to sign him? I don't know exactly what happened. I know it was his knee, but supposedly he's healthy at 33 years old. I mean, you add him into the Cowboys lineup, and he's somewhat pretty good. What do you make of it?
Dude, I thought T.Y. Hilton was retired. I'm going to be honest. I did not even know he was coming back.
I knew he wasn't retired. I knew just the team wouldn't sign him.
Where did he last play? The Colts?
Yeah.
What, last year?
No, 2 years ago.
Oh, he's been out for 2 years?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought he was done. I didn't even know he was still in business.
Do you think?
Good for him.
Do you think he can provide a spark to the Cowboys, or is it just he's just another receiver, on a long journey?
I mean, the Cowboys have every weapon they need. I don't see why they need T.Y. Hilton, but
he signed him for cheap too, $1 million.
Yeah, of course. He hasn't played in 2 years. He's 33.
Yeah.
No, I don't see him really making a difference. I don't see them winning. This is going to come back to bite me, but I don't see them winning a game because they signed T.Y. Hilton that they wouldn't have won otherwise.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I don't
think he makes him better. No. Maybe if an injury comes out.
So he last played in 2021.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe if an injury comes out. So he did play last year then.
Yeah, but I don't think he played. I think he was on the roster.
Gotcha.
No, he did. He played. Yeah, he did. He played 10 games. He only had 330 yards.
Unless somebody serious gets injured, I don't see T.Y. Hilton making a difference.
His last 3 seasons have not been impressive. 501 yards, 762 yards, and 331 yards. So I mean, I don't know what else he's got left in the tank, but I mean, who knows? What did we think when the Bucs signed Julio? He hasn't really done a whole lot. I mean, he played last year obviously as well, but he hasn't done much either. So I mean, he's 33.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
like I said, I don't see them winning a game that they don't win otherwise.
Yeah.
With him.
Did you know the Dolphins had heaters in L.A. when they played the Chargers on Sunday? 55-degree weather there, heaters. Now they got to play Buffalo this Saturday.
That's hilarious.
Heaters.
I've never seen heaters in 55-degree weather. That's hilarious.
I mean, they play in Miami. I understand.
I played in California, and it was like 50 degrees out, and I was freezing my gonads off though.
Yeah.
So I guess as a Florida boy, I get it.
So Justin Herbert to Tagovailoa. Justin Herbert was deemed as a social media quarterback from Emmanuel Acho. Clearly, that's not the case. Herbert outperformed Tua, and I can't believe Dolphins fans. I understand that they're defending their quarterback, but Tua was awful, and they're blaming that there was no separation for the receivers with Waddle and Hill. But I mean, still, he's still just what I mean, what's going on?
There's
Like,
no other
I'm
quarterback.
frustrated about
No
that.
other quarterback gets the separation that Tua is afforded. Like, he is given the farthest separation by any receivers in the league. Like, no one else gets separation like that. So even if he has a low separation in general compared to what he usually gets, he's getting way more than what most people get on a day in and day out basis.
Tua's 35.7 completion percentage is his most inaccurate game ever in the NFL or college. Imagine that.
In history?
Yeah, in for himself.
Oh, okay.
10 of 28, 145 and a touchdown. He was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but
This is what every Tua hater says, though. If he didn't have the best wide receiver combo in the league, then he wouldn't be doing good. And when he can't get like 6 yards of separation on every throw, he can't sort it out. And we've seen that last 2 weeks.
I specifically said I drilled this into people's heads if they listened to the podcast. I was not impressed by the Dolphins when they went on their tear. They beat the Lions, the Steelers, they beat the Browns, and the Bears. I wasn't impressed by that. I'm sorry, I wasn't. I don't know how you can be when you're playing those teams and you turn around and you basically the Dolphins' defense has gotten much better. I will come on here and completely say that I've told you that before. And they were the only reason why they were in that game against the Chargers. So I mean, now you got Buffalo this week. You're at 8-5. You lost 2 straight. Now if you lose this game on Saturday, the short rest week, you're 8-6. They're in trouble. So the remaining games are the Bills, the Packers, the Jets, and the Pats.
Yeah, I guess I did say the Finns might take the wild card. I guess I could be wrong.
I don't know that, dude. They gotta really put it into gear now. They're in trouble.
Yeah.
I personally think so. You're 8-5. You got Buffalo, Green Bay, New England, and the Jets. Like I said, yeah. I mean, dude, they really got to put it together. You know what my dad said? He does not like Mike McDaniel. You want to know why he doesn't like him? My dad played football his whole life. He knows more of football than I'll ever know. But he said to me, I don't like Mike McDaniel because he's a player's coach. He wants to be liked by everybody in the locker room. He was talking to me about Bill Parcells and Belichick and those Giants days.
Coach?
Willie Taggart?
Yeah, Willie Taggart.
But
he was awful.
Those kind of coaches don't work in the NFL, man. You're not there to be somebody's buddy. You're there to coach. That clip I saw of like him trying to be funny, and I get it. It's the new modern NFL and social media, but telling Tua on the sideline that Georgia is better than Alabama, like trying to get them all riled up. You're there to win games, dude. You're not there to be his buddy. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're. Yeah,
you know, it's like.
Right. I mean,
do you see Belichick on the sidelines talking to Mac Jones? Hey, what'd you have for dinner last night? Hey, what are we doing after the game? No.
Yeah, I mean, there's different mentalities to it for sure.
I understand every coach is different, but do you see Andy Reid on the sideline there hanging out with Mahomes, saying, "Hey, what cheeseburgers are we eating after the game?"
I don't see Andy Reid hanging out with anyone. I think he has a dungeon that he sits in when he gets out when the games go.
I think Belichick has a dungeon.
Yeah, they both do.
So I do want to talk about that Pats-Cardinals game, a game I watched from start to finish. Third play of the game, Kyler Murray tore his ACL. Now he can go play Call of Duty again. No, but it's not about that. I mean, I really think it's time to blow it up for the Cardinals. I really do. Kingsbury, Kyler, and Hopkins. Kingsbury and Kyler especially. I think Kingsbury's under contract until 2028. Kyler's under contract until 2027. Their GM, Steve Keim, is under contract as well. So they're all in with all these pieces, and they haven't done anything. Kyler is under contract for that huge, massive deal.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, now obviously it's the Colt McCoy show for the rest of the season. You're going to get a draft pick. But, I mean, they really got to figure it out in the offseason if this is the direction we want to go. Because
I don't know what you do. What do you do about Kingsbury? How can you... I don't know how that works.
Well, obviously, I think it's like this. I go back to the Baker Mayfield Stefanski situation. You either keep the coach, you keep the coach, get rid of the quarterback. You get rid of the quarterback, you keep the coach. I don't think that they would get.
Can you waive them? With those contracts?
With Kyler's contract?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not that deal. So you keep Kyler and you get rid of Kingsbury and you bring somebody else in. So now you got to restart it all over again and go from scratch, basically. A whole new system.
Does Hopkins even like Kyler Murray?
I don't know. I personally don't know.
They've had their riffs, haven't they?
Yes, but anyways, Patriots defense showed up in the second half. What I think the turning point of that game for the Patriots was when Mac Jones said to Patricia, "Shut up." Basically, there was a clip they showed, and I watched it in real time, and he said, "Shut up." I think, and Patricia, like, they put the camera on him, and he loved it. I don't like Patricia myself. I think the play calls he calls are not where they need to be. But it lit a fire under Mac Jones because, I mean, Mac Jones is obviously facing a lot of hate right now and a lot of heat, and it's understandable. But he doesn't have a number one receiver. The O-line has not been good. The run game is extremely banged up. You lose Josh McDaniels and your coordinator from last year, who was developing you, and you go to Patricia, who's the senior football advisor, and he's a defensive coordinator. You bring in Joe Judge. I don't know how you can really blame Mac Jones. And Mac Jones, beginning of the season, was turning the ball over a lot.
Yeah.
But these past 4 games, he's had 1 interception. He had the fluke interception yesterday when he got hit and it bobbled in the air. But when I still watch Mac Jones, I still think he's the guy. I just think he needs the right pieces.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling. But Patriots defensive end Josh Uche, who's finally arrived, has 10 sacks in his last 6 games. I called you about this earlier. And Judon has 14.5. Dude, I'm saying this stuff. The Pats can get in the playoffs if they can get that wild card spot. Watch out. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they could cause some havoc, especially with that defense.
Yeah, their defense.
Is legit,
great.
man. I mean,
it's a team that the Bengals would not want to face.
No, I honestly don't think so. So, sticking on from that game, Nelson Aguilar suffered a concussion, and his teammate. Nelson Aguilar did not suffer a concussion. Devontae Parker suffered a concussion, and Nelson Aguilar was pulling him off the field because of he was kind of woozy-doozy, and the NFL didn't notice it. Well, he came out and said, "Get on y'all's bleeping job. Thankful for my brother was aware of the situation at Nelson Aguilar." Devontae Parker said, he tweeted out basically and said, "Thankful for Nelson Aguilar," and I'm not a Nelson Aguilar fan.
He said thankfully he was there to get
help
him off
the field. Yeah, because the NFL didn't notice it. I mean, he was hit. And Parker was, as soon as he got hit, he was wobbly. And obviously, from the Tua situation, the NFL should not be taking that lightly. Thank God for Aguilar. He's a good teammate. He's not the best player, but, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it's about protecting the players, So, moving on to this question. Do you think Sean McVay would leave the Rams after this season? If Stafford were not to come back, let's say Stafford has that neck injury and it's serious and he has to get surgery and he can't come back, do you think McVay hangs it up?
I think we've already talked about this on an episode. I'm not sure. I do not see why McVay retires at all, like ever. Like,
well, they say
I know they always say that he wants to retire after that core group goes,
right.
Stafford, Aaron, but why? Like, I don't understand.
They say there's a media job waiting for him.
But I don't understand where that competitive, right. Is he just not competitive? Does he not like?
Well, I don't. I'm sure he's competitive, but I mean, you got your ring. You're basically potentially.
But when does it ever stop at 1? I've never seen any competitors want to stop at 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's 50-50 right now.
I don't get that. If that's what he wants to do, go ahead. I cannot picture ever wanting to do that.
Let's say he leaves the Rams. Do you think he would? Where do you think?
Well, that's what the rumors have all been about. If they all leave, he's gone. So
right.
So no.
So you don't think he would retire? You think he would? You think he would stay with the Rams, or who would
from what I've heard, he's going to retire. So yes, that's what I think. I think it's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't know what, but I don't know what he's going to do. I think it's really wrong if he does, but that's just me.
Okay, so this is the last part of the show. I called you about this earlier today. Skip and Shannon, obviously a show that's known around the U.S. It's a huge sports show. Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp. You saw what happened yesterday. Did you see the clip or no?
I did not see the clip, but you described it to me.
I described it to you where Tom Brady was brought up in the conversation. Skip loves Brady just like most people do, and Shannon, his partner, is across the desk. And Shannon Sharp's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best tight ends of all time. And Skip said to Shannon that you're just jealous of Tom because of his career and his accolades compared to you. Personally, as a man, I think that's disrespectful.
Oh, it's pathetic.
You're another man.
Yeah, it was pathetic.
You could see the body language.
Especially when Skip has never had any sort of
That's what I was
sports
saying
career in his
earlier.
life. Why come at somebody's career like when you can't back it up yourself? And it's making that personal dig too when it's a sports
right.
Like it's just a sports conversation.
A game that you've never played. And like I said, disrespecting another man like that is completely uncalled for. I personally like Skip Bayless. I think he's very entertaining. I think he's, served his time in the business. He's earned his wings. But you don't disrespect another NFL player like that, especially a career that Shannon Sharp had because of your feelings about Brady. I personally just don't think that's okay. And you could tell in Shannon Sharp's body language and from today's show. And I don't know if Skip. I don't think Skip apologized. Now I'm sure there
was that earlier today or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday.
Did they go on today?
Yes, they did go on today.
And you think they were okay?
I think they were okay, but I still think that there's some salt there on the wound. I personally think Skip should come out and apologize. Now, some men are not like that. They're not going to apologize. Now, I may punch you in the face, and I may say, I don't want to apologize. You really pissed me off. But personally, you should apologize for your actions. I mean, you're a grown man. Doing something like that is just not called for. So, and it all started because of Brady. A player that,
stupid.
Skip, you don't even know, and you're acting like that. I mean, it was talked about, and everyone was said that that's completely uncalled for, and that's disrespectful. You don't treat another man like that, a Hall of Famer like that. And then what the last part was he told him when Shannon Sharpe took his glasses off, he said, "You put your glasses back on." That's ridiculous.
Yeah, wow. He seemed to be awful.
And I'm not saying that this part is all for views and stuff. I'm just giving you my raw opinion of just how I felt about the situation, because that's what I'm here to do, and I just think that's completely I just don't think that is appropriate, and that's just not cool, man. Like, that's one of those moments where it's like when your friend says, "Hey man, leave me alone," and you still continue to push the situation. It's not cool, man. Leave me alone. I'm done. I'm out of this. I'm out of the argument, or I'm out. So I think that's how we're gonna leave it. We talked about the NFL, and I just think that that's how I'm feeling about that situation. So NFL, Bengals, Pats, Bills, Cowboys, Vikings, we talked about it all. So Max, it was a great episode, and now we get ready for this week's NFL games, and we'll see you next week.